Hello and welcome to this video on the iOS 26 update for Apple iPhones. And just to clarify, I've not missed a few iOS's out. We are jumping straight from iOS 18 to iOS 26. The reason being is that Apple have decided to name all their software releases after the year it's primarily used in. So it's just been announced in June 2025 as a beta option for iPhone, iOS 26. It'll be released to the public September-October time of 2025, and it'll last until September-October time of 2026. So that's why it's 26, because the majority of the year will fall into the year 2026 between the updates. So I hope that makes sense. There's a few little changes here. One of the big changes is what they call liquid glass. So the icons, you can probably see at the bottom there in the bottom bar, it's got that sort of glassy type effect. Also preview there from the Mac app now comes to iPhone, but you'll see some of the app icons have changed and they have that sort of glassy type look to them. But anyway, we'll head straight now into the camera app to show you what's new there. Hello, so I've come out on location today to show you the new camera app in iOS 26. So if you go to the camera app itself, it opens up here, and I'm in the park this afternoon. It's a very hot day, so I've come to the shady part of the park. But the first change you'll notice there in the bottom there is you just have those two options, video and photo. Now I'm quite pleased about this. I think 99 times out of 100 when you want to use your camera app, it's likely a photo or a video that you want to shoot, and so having those two options there as the primary options just takes away a bit of that clutter for the user interface. But of course if you click on them you can swipe, and of course you get that beautiful now liquid glass effect there as well. So all the options are still there, but it's just really highlighting photo and video as the two primary options. Now if you swipe up from that thing there, you can also access the little mini control center for the camera, where you can change the the flash, whether it's a live photo, the timer, and also the f-stop with the exposure if you want to blur background, etc. The options are there. You can also press in the top right hand corner those 6 dots. That also brought those options too, so you can use that way as well. And of course the other options there are for flash and live photo. If you click to video, I can just scan around here. Again, you notice in the top left hand corner now you'll see the frame rate and resolution it's now shooting in, so you can click on that, and if you want to quickly change to 4K, if you want to change to 60 frames per second, etc., you can now do that very quickly, and the features are all there. So that's for the video part. So really that's the update to the camera app, just a couple of UI changes, and of course incorporating that liquid glass, but I think it's been a good change so far. So now to show you the new Photos app in iOS 26, so we'll go to Photos, and you'll probably see a big change here actually. So I think in iOS 18 it wasn't very popular to create a single page design. So if you remember, you had all your photos like on the grid there, but then you would scroll down to all your collections and your favourites and your deleted ones, etc, etc. But in iOS 26 they've reintroduced the tabs at the bottom. So we've got the library, which is all your photos here. You can see a bit of that liquid glass at the top there where it says select, and how it's translucent with the photos underneath it. So that's a little feature or effect there. But yeah, all your photos are now back here under library, and then collections is where they're all now all in your separate categories. So you got your memories, pinned albums, etc. here. And if you want to collapse any of these, obviously you can just press the downward arrows, and that'll just tidy that screen up as well, if that's what you wanted there too. But that's basically the new layout for the Photos app. One last thing to show you, which I think is probably actually the main feature. So I say it's one last thing, but it's maybe one of the main features in this year's updates, and that is spatial scenes or spatial photos. So I've just taken this photograph of the tree in the park. So under those 3 dots there in the top right hand corner, you can press that little arrow and the little shield type icon. You can see spatial scene, and hopefully as I move this phone about, you can see now it's a bit of like a parallax type design. So it's realised obviously the trees in the foreground, and it's just trying to make it a bit 3D by putting the background in the background there. So it's actually a very clever feature for a spatial scene or spatial photos there in iOS 26. Actually, I'll add this on to the end. So this is now the final thing to show you. It's related to spatial scene. You can also choose a spatial scene photograph for your wallpaper. So if we go to wallpaper and settings here, and we can go to add new wallpaper and photos at the top there. That's going to bring these photos. Here's me at the beach the other day, enjoying some late spring sunshine. But once it comes up like that, you can see all the icons there. You can see a little shield again, so you can generate a spatial scene. Next where it says generating spatial scene, that's the little round icon for loading. So it might just take a few seconds to do that while it generates it. As you can see, it's now filling in now. But it's quite a cool little feature for your wallpaper as well. So just like that, load in, and I can show you the results of what it looks like on wallpaper. Almost done now. And there you have it, look. So now you can move me about in the photograph. And you've got those lovely shadows there as well of me in the background and the beach. So yeah, this is now a spatial scene or a spatial photo, now using your wallpaper. So there you have it. Hopefully quite succinctly, in 5 or so minutes, we've seen the latest additions to iOS 26 relating to photography. So there in the camera app, we have the redesign user interface. We've got to have the liquid glass elements. We have just the photos and videos at the bottom, and able to change the video recording frame rates and resolutions at the top. And then in the Photos app, redesign back with tabs again, so you can search for your photos a bit easier, and also spatial scenes or spatial photographs, where you can use that as a natural photograph or as your wallpaper. So this is the first beta of iOS 26. If there's any more updates, I'll let you know. But thanks for watching, and this is the updates for this year.